Today is the dawn of a new playoff racing day.
Stay focused, stay precise, make it happen today.
400 miles on a 1.5-mile Kansas Speedway.
We'll fight and grind hard here.
The place is electric in the playoffs.
Kansas Speedway, the crowd on their feet.
Everyone knows the best time in any sport is the postseason.
Another good one right here.
And all these playoff drivers hoping they don't incur the wrath of this racetrack.
Get a win if we can.
Welcome to Around the Track, presented by Moultrie Mobile. I'm Kim Coon alongside Ryan Flores, and it was an action-packed weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway. We had all three National Series in action, as well as ARCA.
Yeah, it started with that doubleheader on Thursday, and a heartbreaker right away for Connor Zilic. He got wrecked, and William Swallow overcame that points deficit to win the ARCA East Championship. And then we go, Lane Riggs, back-to-back.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, the good thing is his shoulder stayed in the socket during the celebration this time, so those guys are on fire with that front row truck.
And then you mentioned the point deficit that Swallow overcame on Zilic in the ARCA Series. Well, there was also a point deficit that was overcome in the Xfinity Series. Cole Custer entered the weekend minus 43 points. Justin Allgaier obviously having some issues, and Cole walks away with the regular season championship in the Xfinity Series. Yeah,
Cole Custer dominated the end of that race, and another guy that dominated was Kyle Larson.
Oh my
that five bunch was so good, and the Cup race played out way different than it did in the spring, but you cannot deny how strong that 5 team was moving on to the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, a couple news items too. Harrison Burton announcing he's going to AM Racing for 2025, going to be racing back in the Xfinity Series full time. And then your boy Corey, big announcement. Yeah. First time we've ever seen an in-season driver swap.
Yeah, driver swap between him and Justin Haley and Rick Ware Racing and Spire. And we broke that all down on Stack and Penny, so make sure you tune in this week. Corey gets in-depth, tells us what happened and how he's feeling about it. And exciting to see those guys are right next to each other in points. So it'll be a little bit of a rivalry to see who finishes better with their new rides.
Absolutely. And as we head to Kansas Speedway this weekend, we'll see all 3 National Series back in action there, but there's going to be racing all over the country.
Absolutely, and it all fires up on Saturday with the end of the Virginia Triple Crown late model stocks, the Martinsville Valley Star Credit Union 300. It's the Daytona 500 for these guys in the late model stocks, and then ARCA West is at Madera. Man, that Valley Star Credit Union 300, though, is awesome. There's going to be over 80 entries vying for 40 spots. Everybody qualifies. Nobody's locked in. And they have 4 crazy heat races taking 10 cars each. So it is an awesome race. And Connor Hawley's going to see if he can win his 2nd championship of the week.
Yeah, Peyton Sellers, though, breathing down his back. Peyton's won that Triple Crown 4 times. But you mentioned it. This is almost like a crown jewel for those late models. And it just alone comes to the number of entries.
Yeah.
Over 80 is incredible.
Absolutely, and you're all vying for a grandfather clock. And like we said, Connor Hall won the NASCAR Advanced Weekly Series national points this week. He was crowned champion of that, and then he's going to go. He's leading the points in the Virginia Triple Crown. He's also leading car score points, so it is great. One guy he doesn't have to worry about this week, though, is Brendan Queen. Butterbean is going to be truck racing, so he's going to have a guy filling in for him. Yeah,
Lee Pulliam will be in the car for him, and it's the first time we've seen him back in action in almost 4 years. He has not raced a late model since 2020.
Well, he knows how to get it done in Martinsville, so I'm excited. I'm going to be glued to my Flow Racing app watching that. It's going to be awesome, but like we said, Brendan Queen's going to be in the truck race. As we look ahead to the Kansas schedule, it all starts on Friday with a doubleheader. ARCA and trucks, 5:30 and 8:30 respectively. Then we move on to Saturday with the Xfinity cars on the CW at 4 p.m. It all leads us to the Hollywood Casinos 400 Sunday at 3 p.m.
Yeah, and as we look at the truck series, remember, their playoff schedule a little bit different than Xfinity and Cup Series. This will be the last race of this first round for them. You mentioned Lane Riggs getting the first 2, but there are some drivers locked into the next round. You look at Christian Eckes, Corey Heim, Nick Sanchez, all knowing that they're going to be moving on.
Yeah, and only 2 guys get knocked out in this first round. We see Daniel Dye and Ben Rhodes below that cutoff line. A guy this weekend that had a great weekend that was below that cutoff line, but stage points and a great finish. Raja Karuth, he propelled himself up in the standings and gave himself a 35-point buffer heading into the weekend. Because
considering he went into Bristol -4, you mentioned that stage win, his first stage win in his Truck Series career. He did a great job getting stage points in stage 2 and then finished 3rd for an absolutely awesome weekend.
Yeah, a couple other notable people we talked about. We talked about Brandon Queen, Cam Waters, also V8 Supercar drivers going to be in the field, Frankie Muniz, and IndyCar darling.
Oh, yeah. Connor Daly. He's not the only Connor, though. Connor Mozak also in a truck this week, and he's going to be running for Spire.
Yep, and we talked about Daniel Dye. He's also going to be in the Xfinity race, and the Xfinity starts their playoff this weekend. We're going to see who is able to get some stage points. I'm telling you, stage points are going to be the difference between making it to the next round and not. So it all starts at Kansas. This is a place where they can control. They control before they go to Talladega. You know, you never know what what happens at Talladega.
Yeah, and we mentioned Connor's playing interloper in the Truck Series. There's a Connor interloping in the Xfinity Series. We'll see Zilich back in an Xfinity Series car. First time we see him back in an Xfinity Series car since he won his first race at Watkins Glen and in his debut, so I can't wait to see what he does at Kansas. Yeah,
he dominated, and everybody's excited. You know, there's a lot of hype around him. He had a rough truck race at Bristol, got turned around, fought all day, but yeah, exciting to see him on a 1.5 mile in an Xfinity car. It's going to be a little precursor for what we see all year next year. But talking about precursors, let's go ahead and jump to the schedule for Cup this weekend. We see practice and qualifying Saturday at 1 p.m. Like we said, Hollywood Casino 400. Sunday, USA, 3 p.m. What are you looking forward to in the first race of the round of 12?
Yeah, well, the crazy thing is there was so much talk about the first round, the round of 16, as we went to Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol, it being a wild card, yada, yada, yada. Well, we got through that round to then be deposited into the second round, which feels just as chaotic when you look at the tracks we're going to. Kansas, yes, seems like a straightforward 1.5 miles, but we have seen so much drama there in the past couple of years, and then they go Talladega, Roval. So I think, you know, even with Kansas being a crazy race the last couple of years, I think the teams look at, oh my gosh, we have Talladega, and then we have the Roval next. So they're going to be wanting those stage points, and all that goes to qualifying, making sure you're setting up a good weekend.
Absolutely, yeah. If you can qualify well and you can get yourself 5 or 10 stage points to start the race, that is huge because it's going to be the difference coming down the stretch. And you don't want to go to Talladega in a deficit and feel like you have to do anything. And you definitely don't want to go to the Roval, you know, because they're changing the track. There's going to be a lot of differences. It's almost going to be harder on the drivers. So there's a lot of unknowns in the next 2 races. So you definitely want to get out of Kansas with a points buffer. You don't want to put yourself behind at all.
Yeah, we mentioned all 3 of NASCAR's National Series at Kansas this weekend. One driver playing double duty in the Craftsman Truck Series and the NASCAR Xfinity Series is Taylor Gray. Let's learn a little bit more about him.
Taylor Gray, driver of the number 17. I love racing. I got into it as a kid and just went from there, honestly. I always liked it and just something that brought my interest. Obviously started out the year really strong. We were really fast every race we went to, and got into some of the summer months and had a couple off weekends and some bad weekends and had some races that we should have won, not go our way, and probably should have won 4 races or so by now. I think our thing was I'd rather it happen now than whenever we get in the playoffs and it start happening. So let's get through this now. Let's continue to work as hard as we can. Let's try to get out of this. Let's calm ourselves out of it. Here of late, we've got back on track and got our raw speed back and have been executing well. You know, we have some good racetracks for us and maybe some that we need some help on, like Martinsville and Talladega is just kind of anyone's race. At the end of the day, we have to focus on ourselves, you know, just execute and bring our best selves to the racetrack every weekend.
Well, one thing's for sure, Kim, Taylor Gray does not lack confidence. So to rock a mustache that clean, you got to be confident. But like he said, he lacks some wins. He feels like he should have won a couple races this year. He's got a lot of top 5s and top 10s, 6 and 10, and he's plus 23 to that cut line. What stands out to you about Taylor Gray?
Well, I think that people don't know that Taylor Gray has a little bit different path than his family. You know, I think he gets lumped in with his father, his grandfather, his brother Tanner. They were all drag racers. And for him, he didn't have that interest. He had an interest in NASCAR. So he debuted in late models when he was 12 and then kind of cut his teeth and honed his skills in the Cars Late Model Tour. Then moved into ARCA, I think it was 2020, split some time between ARCA Menard Series and the Truck Series. Now we're seeing full-time racing in the trucks along with his brother. His brother will be in the field this weekend. And so I think that it's so cool that he kind of forged his own path versus just following in his family's footsteps.
Absolutely. He's put in the work. Whether it be the short tracks at Hickory in a late model or Millbridge in a 600, but he's done well, and I'm ready to see him punch his ticket to victory lane. One guy that was able to find victory lane in Kansas in the closest finish in NASCAR history was Kyle Larson. Let's take a look back at it.
Here we go. Momentum on the outside. Busher to the lead. Larson up top.
Outside.
A final try. Crash together.
Photo finish.
Green.
Gonna cross over.
To the middle here.
Huge move. Whoa!
Gonna be a green line checker.
Larson trying to close. Busher. He's on the outside. He's in position. He's got it.
They're going to drag race to the start-finish line. They bang sideways.
Coming to the line. I believe Busher.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on. It may be the 5. It's Larson.
Timing and scoring shows 0.000.
We won.
The closest NASCAR finish ever.
Hell of a job, Larson.
What a great finish and great race we had in the spring at Kansas. And truly, Kansas has become one of the best mile and a halves for the next gen car. And there's a number of different reasons, but I think about drivers can run low, they can run high, they can run in between depending on where the lanes go, where the rubber's laid down. And those options, I think, especially as a playoff race, create aggression.
Absolutely. And we saw there was coming across the line 4 wide, right? There was 2 Chevys, a Toyota, and a Ford all racing. So it's everybody's very even here. You got to get your car to work right. You got to have everything here.
Yeah, versatility.
You got to have grip. You got to have motor. You got to have a pit crew. You got to have strategy. This is a 7 pit stop race. The last 2 races we've been there, we've done 7 plus pit stops. So you're going to have to put the work in on pit road. You're going to have to keep your guy in it all day. And like we said, it's not just at the end when they need you. It's at the end of each stage. You got to keep them in it, get those stage points, and get on the Talladega.
Restarts crazy too, 3 and 4 wide. Drivers using the apron after they get past the start-finish line. You mentioned pit road though, and we were talking before the show. This is really the last opportunity for pit crew members like yourself to really hone in on what they need for what I'll call regular stops. Because we go to Talladega next weekend, that's going to be a fuel situation, and then we go to the Roval, which is completely different. So how much pressure is on you this weekend?
A lot. This is a race that, you know, when we look at our season averages, it really factors into it. And anytime you can go there and get 5 plus pit stops, you really want to put together a good day. Not to mention, you're going to directly affect the points that you gain on the day. And you're going to see, once we get into the round of 8, it is just pit crew heavy races all the way to Phoenix. So you're going to see who kind of separates themselves. You're going to have to be ready to go come the next round.
All right, I hope Erica's taking notes, because up next she's going to give me all of her best bets for the weekend at Kansas.
The NASCAR playoffs are here, and every week we break down the road to the title. The favorites, the underdogs, and those on the outside looking in. Don't be on the outside, be on the inside. It's NASCAR Inside the Playoffs on True TV and Max.
So who is your best value pick for your fantasy league?
I've got my guy.
Yeah, we took a gamble this weekend.
Luck or the lack thereof. It's a big factor here today.
Listen to me out there, gamblers.
Intrigue, baby.
Now we're going to welcome in Erica, our resident sports betting analyst, for Easy Money with E. She's going to tell you all the best bets for the weekend at Kansas Speedway. Before that, though, got to give ourselves some props, Erica, because we killed it on the bets for Bristol.
We did. You asked, we delivered. We got one of the fun bets to hit last week, which was taking the under of 4.5 even numbered cars to finish in the top 10. That hit at plus 100. One of my bonus bets on my social hit when I took the winner of stage 2 to be the winner of Bristol, that hit at plus 400. And then Bell, Hamlin, and Larson all finishing in the top 10 hit at minus 120. I am a happy camper.
And we've got some money to play with this weekend at Kansas. We're going to start with outright winners, which makes me a little nervous after the spring where we saw the closest finish in Cup Series history.
The outright winners odds that I'm looking at are Larson, Denny Hamlin, and Alex Bowman. Larson right now is plus 325 to be an outright winner at Kansas. And one of the things that I like about him, Kim, is that he's won 3 of the last 5 races at mile-and-a-half tracks. Now, plus 325, those are the shortest odds at this race, but it's still plus money, so it's still a good spot. And then we have the devil that we know in Denny Hamlin. One of the things that I love about him is that he is the all-time winner at Kansas with 4 races. And then also, he's never finished worse than top 5 in the next gen car. I talked about maybe fading him, but I'm not ready to fade Denny Hamlin. I'm still going to back him to live to see another day. And then if you want to back his top 3 odds, you can do that at plus 140, or you can take the bigger risk and take him at plus 500 to be the outright winner. And then finally, we got Alex Bowman at plus 4,000. The biggest thing about this, Kim, is shop around, because I've seen him as short as plus 2,200. I've seen him at plus 3,500. Take the bigger number if you can find it at plus 4,000. He's one of those drivers who's 3 below the cutoff line. We talk about drivers who need to be aggressive. He's one of the ones who really has to come to this race in Kansas and show up if he wants to continue to trend to advance to the next round.
I certainly think he could win. He was actually in the conversation for my race pick this week. In fact, all 3 of those drivers. So I love these picks. I'm not going to tell you who my race pick is. You're going to have to wait until later in the show, but love all 3 of those picks. Now that we're 1 round down in the championship title hunt, though, I want to revisit our championship futures, because remember at the beginning of the season, we had some preseason picks on who we thought would win the championship and those odds. And I want an update. Where do these drivers stand now?
A few drivers that I think that you guys should be looking at are Larson, Byron, Reddick, and Suarez. The gold number on the graphic shows you about where their odds opened up before the season started, and the black number shows you about where we are now. With Larson and Byron, they both opened up at plus 550, and you see Larson's odds have actually shortened. So if you did not get in on the Larson boat before his odds got short to plus 400, then unfortunately you probably missed the best opportunity to get the most bang for your buck, especially because he's coming off that excellent win at Bristol. But Byron, on the other hand, his odds have gotten a little bit longer. So you could play him one of two ways. You could go ahead and back him now at plus 800, or you could say he hasn't won any of the races at any of the tracks in the next 3 tracks that we're going to look at. And you could see if those odds get longer and then get in on him then. But plus 800, guys, is still a good number.
I love that we're also checking in on Reddick and Suarez, because at the beginning of the year, I'm not sure people forecasted that Reddick would win the regular season championship. And then on the same note, I'm not sure people thought, A, that Suarez was going to win a race to get into the championship, and then B, make it to the round of 12.
Yeah, well, Reddick's odds have jumped tremendously. He's now plus 500 after opening at plus 1,500. He actually got a really long, maybe April and May, went up to about plus 1,650. But yeah, like Larson, I doubt his odds are going to get too much longer. So you probably have missed opportunity. But if you want to back Reddick, go ahead and do it now. He's won at Kansas before. He's won at Talladega before. So those odds will likely only get shorter. And then Suarez was my pick at the beginning of the year, my long shot. He's still in it. I waffled all season about whether or not I was going to get off that ticket. I'm glad that I held on to it because he is still living to see another day. And with Talladega coming up and also with the Roval coming up, knowing that he runs pretty well at road courses and that he won Atlanta this year, I think that's a number at plus 8,000 that you want to go ahead and back before it gets any shorter.
So much great information, Erica, as fans try and decide where to put their money this weekend. And don't forget to tune in to Erica's social media channel. She's going to have bonus bets later in the week. Erica, thank you so much. We'll catch up next week for the wild card. That's going to be Talladega Super Speedway. And now that you know where to put your money, Ryan and I are going to tell you all of the cool things for fans if you're headed to Kansas Speedway.
Less than this ruler determine the winner of the race.
You put him in this position, and we're having the conversation today about why did every other crew chief miss the 2-stop strategy.
This is Formula One racing, this is road course racing, and this is also short track racing.
You've only got to get to here, just over a car width. Catch NASCAR Inside the Race each week on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
Hey race fans, Corey the Joy here. Join Ryan, Flores, and myself for Stacking Pennies each week. I'll break down my race and explain what happened right out of my windshield.
Plus, we award the Dogs of the Week for the best pit crews and go in-depth on all the money stops, pit road mistakes, and penalties.
And we've got a ton of guests. We have SVG stopping by. We had Ricky Stenhouse after he punched Kyle Busch in the face. We've had Bubba. We've had all sorts of guys in here in the Nonsense Garage, so you do not want to miss it. Check us out on Sirius XM Channel 90, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts. Each and every week, Stacking Pennies. That's what's up.
Well, Kim, as always, there's a lot to do at Kansas Speedway this week. And when I was looking at this list, I'm a BMX kid at heart.
Yeah?
Yep, born and raised BMX racing, so I'm excited to see the Wonder Wheels BMX show. We'll be there all weekend long. What do you look forward to?
Yeah, there'll be a track walk. Always a great opportunity to see the racing surface, what drivers up against. And then Sunday, the Bob Moses Rowdy Road Concert Series. Great time to get in some live music.
Yeah, that's a great city. There's a lot to do at the track and around. You can see everything that Kansas has to offer this weekend at kansasspeedway.com.
All right, it's time to put our race picks in for the weekend. And before we reveal it, we've started, if you've noticed, like the last half dozen times, not telling each other our race picks before the show, because I think it makes it a little bit more fun.
I agree, and I'll tell you mine right off the bat.
Okay.
I'll go first. Denny Hamlin. I picked him last week. I'm picking him again. 4 Kansas wins, most all time. He's finished top 5 in the last 6 Kansas races, and he's got 14 wins on mile and a half. So this is the guy to go with. They got new life. Their back was against the wall last round. They got new life. They're going into this race confident. They're going to be hard to beat.
What does my card say?
See? Hey, Denny Hamlin as well.
Denny Hamlin, picked him as well. You heard Ryan talk about it. And then you look at Toyota's record there, won 7 of the last 10 races at Kansas. I'm with you. I think he had a bad first round, and then he get to Bristol. It feels like the life is a little bit back into that team. They've got some wind in their sails, and so I'm looking for a really strong round from them, starting out with a race win in Kansas.
Absolutely. Denny Hamlin is probably the guy to have on your lineup this weekend.
All right, it is time for the white flag, which means I've got a little trivia for Ryan this week. So we're going to go Kansas Speedway trivia, all 3 of the inaugural winners in the Top National Series. We'll start with Cup.
I don't know. I'm going to guess. What year was it?
2001.
2001. Okay. I'm going to go Mark Martin.
No.
Okay. Give me it.
I mean, let's think about this.
Greg Biffle?
No, nope.
Am I getting close? Matt Kenseth?
No, he
Dang.
works right across, like right down the road.
I have no idea.
Come on, I want to give him a clue.
Jimmy Johnson. No, it's way
He was
too
teammates with Jimmy.
Jeff Gordon.
Yes,
okay.
Jeff Gordon. All right. Next up, Xfinity Series.
Oh.
He was a series champion, and at one point, relatively recently, crew chiefed a little in the Xfinity Series, I think for Kyle Sieg.
Oh, man. I don't know. I have no idea. When you said
Shares
that,
a name with Jeff Gordon.
Oh, man. Jeff Green.
Yes.
Let's go.
Good job.
Let's go.
And finally,
I wonder if that was the 10 Nesquik car. That was one of my favorite cars of all time.
I don't know what car it was.
Okay.
And then finally, this driver's
Jack
father.
Sprague.
No.
Dang it. Okay.
I'll give you a clue, unless you just want to outright guess.
No, go ahead.
This driver's father currently still has 4 cars in the playoffs in the Cup Series.
Oh, Ricky Hendrick?
Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice job.
That was a little bit tougher than I thought, but take 2 Hendrick drivers and Jeff Green. That was cool.
Yeah. Pretty
Awesome.
good, right?
Yep. But hey, I'm excited to get through Kansas and go to Talladega. So make sure you join us back here next week at Around the Track. We take you through everything Talladega.